In the first week of February 2013, Malaysia again celebrated the World Interfaith Harmony Week as proposed by His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan in the United Nations through its Resolution A65 PV 34. World Interfaith Harmony Week Malaysia, or WIHW in short, started with a moderate ceremony at a shopping mall in Subang Jaya, a satellite town about 10 kilometers away from the capital city of Kuala Lumpur. Dato Azman Amin, the chairman of the Cabinet Committee in promoting the understanding and harmony of the various adherents of different religions in the country, or JKMPKA in short, introduced WIHW and the events planned within the week. Among them were the Muhibah Expedition, Muhibah Bowling, Muhibah for Schools, Muhibah Breakfast and Muhibah Walk. Other events organized at other locations outside Kuala Lumpur like Perlis and Sarawak and involved VIPs from the respective states within the week were also exposed to the crowd.
World Interfaith Harmony Week di peringkat nasional, yang mana dalam kembara ini kita kumpulkan remaja-remaja kita dalam dua buah bas, satu akan pergi ke utara dan sebuah lagi akan ke selatan, dan mereka-mereka ini terdiri daripada anak-anak muda daripada pelbagai anutan agama akan melaksanakan kerja-kerja gotong royong, kerja-kerja kebajikan dalam usaha, dalam semangat untuk menyatu padukan penganut-penganut agama di kalangan masyarakat Malaysia ini.
Saudara-saudari yang saya hormati sekalian, salam bahagia, selamat petang, salam perpaduan.
The VIP for the soft launch was Tan Sri Kosukun, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, in charge among others safeguarding and enhancing the unity and integration of the multiracial and multicultural people of Malaysia.
Kerana pada petang yang mulia ini kita dapat bersama-sama untuk menyaksikan satu acara yang sederhana tetapi amatlah bermakna, iaitu Kembara Muhibah, yang merupakan acara baru untuk kita menyambut Minggu Keharmonian antara penganut-penganut agama sedunia atau World Interfaith Harmony Week.
In his speech, he reiterated the uniqueness of Malaysia as a well-known multiracial, multilingual and multicultural nation that managed to live in peace and harmony this far.
Inilah kebanggaan kita. This is our pride that we are and we have to continue to be the example of harmony, interfaith harmony in the world. Where else in the world do we have all the great religions of the world in harmony in the country? And I think that says a lot about Malaysians and about the system that we have in Malaysia. King Abdullah II atau Raja Abdullah.
This fact is the pride of all Malaysians, especially when the United Nations and other responsible bodies outside the nation quoted this harmonious well-being as the exemplary success of the forward-looking democratic government of Malaysia.
Minggu Keharmonian antara semua penganut agama sedunia, World Interfaith Harmony Week, dan itulah resolusi yang disokong oleh Malaysia dan dilulus oleh bangsa-bangsa bersatu.
Nevertheless, not rejoicing over the past laurels, Malaysia recorded her strongest support to the initiative and the proposed WIHW at United Nations General Assembly and acted upon it since. In fact, the efforts were intensified by the establishment of the Cabinet Committee with the sole objective of promoting understanding and harmony amongst adherents of all faiths in the country.
Satu bas ke utara singgah dekat Ipoh, bermalam di Ipoh dengan keluarga angkat yang terdiri daripada pemimpin rukun tetangga di bawah Jabatan Perpaduan.
In similitude to the significant journey of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from Al-Haram Mosque in Mecca to the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Baitul Muqaddis, Jerusalem, WIHW Malaysia started this year's program by sending 2 busloads of youths of diverse religious background on an expedition from Shah Alam, one to the north of the peninsula and the other south. The participants were designed to be involved in many social activities among themselves and with members of different communities and religious background in the respective destinations. Together, they participated in visiting houses of worship, enjoyed the different cultural shows, and appreciated locally prepared food and entertainment. More important, they got acquainted with their so-called distant neighbors, specifically in the form of foster parents of different religious background, an experience they never had the opportunity to participate before. Hopefully, this Muhibah expedition provided them with added knowledge and education that would enable them to understand and appreciate both similarities and differences, especially in terms of varied religions within the Malaysian multicultural society. God willing, Muhibah expedition has finally developed and enhanced their understanding, appreciation, and therefore some sense of sympathy, empathy, and love towards the realization of a harmonious Malaysia through the love of God and the love of the neighbors as philosophized by the basic principles of WIHW. In this context, the Malaysian idiom of failing to know is failing to love is very relevant indeed.
semua agama, tidak ada agama, satu agama pun yang mengajar pengikut atau penganut dia ke arah kejahilan ataupun menjadi orang jahat. Dan berdasar itulah kita di Malaysia, we respect each other, berbilang kaum, berbilang agama.
Nak ucapkan cepat cai. Kongsi 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 ni, kongsi 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 ni.
Obviously, harmony has also to relate to the joy of listening to folk music and songs, entertained by the display of traditional dances and arts of self-defense, representing the different cultures and ethnic groups. Harmony is also being felt after being treated and greeted with smiles and pleasant gestures by the leaders, senior members as well as peers alike, showcasing indeed the kind of harmony that will naturally become lifelong experience that will surely enrich the participants' remaining lives. Hopefully, this development will be of significant asset to the future of a truly colourful and harmonious Malaysia.
Kita amat beruntung kerana dapat menikmati kehidupan yang penuh aman dan damai serta harmoni, di mana kita dikelilingi oleh masyarakat yang berbilang kau, yang merangkumi pelbagai agama, kebudayaan, adat rezam dan bahasa. Namun dengan terpupuknya semangat saling hormat menghormati juga memperuntukkan hak kebebasan beragama di Malaysia, di mana tiap-tiap orang adalah berhak menganuti dan mengamalkan agamanya dan tertaluk pada fasal 4, mengembangkan agamanya.
While Muhibah expeditions were on their journey to their respective destinations, members of the Cabinet Committee, leaders and adherents of the various religions were treated with a rare event of bowling at a bowling alley in the same shopping complex. This event exhibited the fact that harmony is also enjoyed and attained through recreation, sports and games if the development process is adhered to and the desired goal is understood and and share. Success and victory is the outcome of a strategic cooperation and strong team spirit among the participants. Similar recipes seem to have been used to realize successful Malaysian idols that proudly represent Malaysia on the international pedestals, irrespective of his or her racial and religious background. The prize for them to excel in competitions at various levels could be in different forms, but the victorious end results are most fulfilling for all Malaysians alike, an example of patriotic element in a democratic nation building. Youths of today will inevitably be the leaders of tomorrow. Upholding to this important philosophy, the Cabinet Committee promoting the understanding and harmony amongst the adherents of all religions and beliefs focus most of their activities on potential youths in this sector of the Malaysian population. The committee believed that the innocent smiles and laughter of children and youths of different ages must be sustained throughout their productive lives in order to realize a sustainable, harmonious Malaysia that is in the offing.
Saya memang amat bersyukur, berbesar hati kerana pada pagi yang mulia ini kita dapat berhimpun di sini untuk bersama-sama menyambut kehadiran yang amat berhormat Tan Sri Timbalan Perdana Menteri. Dan ini memang merupakan kali kedua beliau bersama-sama dalam program untuk Minggu Keharmonian Antara Agama Sedunia. Dan ini memang menunjukkan betapa peka dan komited kerajaan Malaysia terhadap Minggu Keharmonian ini, yang sebenarnya dibawa sebagai satu resolusi di bangsa-bangsa bersatu oleh Raja Abdullah II dari negara Jordan.
Program seperti ini merupakan aktiviti penting supaya erti keharmonian dan keamanan ini dapat dihayati dan juga difahami dengan lebih mendalam, terutamanya di kalangan generasi muda Malaysia pada hari ini.
To realize this dream, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Tan Sri Muhammad Muhyiddin Yassin, who is also the Minister of Education Malaysia, graced and officiated the launching of World Interfaith Harmony Week to all the 8,000 schools in Malaysia.
Berbilang kaum dan agama di negara kita ini. Kestabilan dan juga keharmonian yang kita miliki ketika ini adalah satu bentuk kesepakatan masyarakat yang tinggi. Proses pembinaan sesebuah negara bangsa yang ingin maju ke hadapan seharusnya bertunjangkan kepada persefahaman yang padu, saling memahami dan menghormati sesama sendiri.
The occasion this time is an orchestrated rendition of music, dances and almost all uniform activities participated by more than 3,500 students coming from different racial and vernacular educational channels.
Negara bangsa seperti yang dihasratkan dalam wawasan 2020, kita semua bertanggungjawab untuk memastikan
the assembly of these students in the company of their teachers and education officers is the outcome of the recent education policy. One student is to one specific co-curricular activity.
Dan institusi pendidikan perlu terus berusaha untuk membangunkan persekitaran sosial yang kondusif serta menggalakkan komunikasi dan juga interaksi antara murid dan pelbagai kaum, agama dan budaya agar satu identiti nasional Malaysia akan dapat kita realisasikan.
The Deputy Prime Minister in his speech stressed on the importance of unity and integration to be inculcated into the young generation in schools, not only among the interracial components, but more important, among the interracial and intercultural groups. The various religious-based values could be shared and put into practice, while values that are perceived by other religions as sensitive and threatening must be respected and avoided. He cited with full praise the thoughtful initiatives of His Majesty King Abdullah II as presented at the 65th United Nations General Assembly as a long-awaited recipe to achieve global peace and harmony, especially amongst the various religious leaders and adherents. The theme, love of God and love of the neighbors, must be realized to the optimum level to guarantee a stable and harmonious future for Malaysia.
Karena di sekolahlah segala nilai-nilai mulia ini harus kita pupuk. Persefahaman dan perpaduan itu dijadikan sebagai
The suggested theme that are common in general to all religions of the world must also be adopted and adapted within the Malaysian schools system, because it concurred with the policy of One Malaysia that the government is advocating and executing.
Negara lain di dunia pada hari ini. Dan saya ingin mendoa mudah-mudahan usaha seperti ini akan terus dapat menghasilkan semangat perpaduan yang kukuh di kalangan warga Malaysia yang pada masa yang akan datang. Kong Hei Fa Choi, Wanakam, thank you, CCNA, terima kasih, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The launching of WIHW by the Deputy Prime Minister was followed by a pledge by all present to loyally adhere to the national principle of Rukun Negara at all times.
Berikrar akan menumpukan seluruh tenaga dan usaha kami untuk mencapai cita-cita tersebut berdasarkan atas prinsip-prinsip yang berikut: kepercayaan kepada Tuhan, kesetiaan kepada Raja dan Negara, keluhuran perlembagaan, kedaulatan undang-undang, kesopanan dan kesusilaan.
The exciting ceremony ended with every member of the crowd singing patriotically the popular One Malaysia song.
Kita satu bangsa, satu negara, kita satu Malaysia. Kita satu bangsa, kita satu negara, kita satu agama. Kita satu bangsa, satu negara, kita satu Malaysia.
The next event was the Muhibah Breakfast held at the Tian Hau Temple in Kuala Lumpur, hosted by the Tau community of Malaysia. The event was again graced by the Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Tan Sri Koh Su Kun, along with members of the Cabinet Committees, the Secretariat, religious adherents, leaders of the neighbourhood associations in the vicinity, and members of the general public. Breakfast was prepared by Muslims of Chinese origin and was declared halal to all participants irrespective of religious background. The Muhibah breakfast ended with guests being led to see the well-decorated premises and the facilities therein. They were also briefed and educated on the basic principles of Taoism as practiced by their followers. The pinnacle of the Malaysian WIHW 2013 events was the Harmony Walk. The walk was organized in a busy section of Kuala Lumpur called Brickfields, the name of which brought back memories of the colonial days. It was considered the prime event because the VIP who officiated the walk was none other than the Prime Minister of Malaysia, the Most Honourable Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak. The walk started at about 4:15 in the hot afternoon of Kuala Lumpur, led by the Prime Minister and eminent religious leaders of all religions, followed by their adherents and members of the public. The walk comprises two integrated components: the actual walking from one house of worship to the other and a visit to the respective houses to observe some welcoming celebrations prepared by the different religious adherents. The set location of Brickfields was the right choice because within an area of not more than 2 kilometers, there are not less than 5 houses of worship. Harmony Walk started with the Prime Minister and his entourage visiting the Indian Methodist Church before embarking to the Seng Hong Taoist Temple for another short visit. After a short stint there, he then walked to the Gautiyah Mosque. Since the Asar prayers locally was at 4:55 p.m, Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib spent some precious time praying at the Gautiyah Mosque with the local Jemaah. The delegation then walked to Sri Sakti Krapaga Vinayaga Hindu Temple and ended his journey and visit to the Buddhist Mahavihara, the biggest Buddhist temple in Southeast Asia. It was at this vihara that the Prime Minister gave a beautiful speech and launched the WIHW Malaysia 2013 officially.
Saya berbangga bahawa pada hari ini saya dapat melakukan apa yang telah diberi nama sebagai Harmony Walk.
In his launching speech, the Prime Minister expressed his happiness in the opportunity to participate in this Harmony Walk in an environment so enriched with harmony amongst the residents and adherents of various religions in Brickfields.
Satu perjalanan yang syarat dengan keharmonian kalau tidak terlebih dahulu kawasan ini merupakan kawasan yang mana kehidupan pelbagai penganut agama dan keturunan berada dalam keadaan yang penuh dengan keharmonian.
He was quite sure nowhere else in the world such multi-religious landscape with prominent houses of worship that represented different religions of the world existed in an area within 500 meters of each other. He said that harmony in Brickfields is indeed a microcosm of a harmonious Malaysia.
Yang telah pun dibina sekian lama. Ada yang telah wujud dalam kurun ke-19 dahulu, abad ke-19. Yang ini bermula dengan Gereja Tamil Methodist.
The initiative was then received positively by all, and the first week of February becomes the annual World Interfaith Harmony Week for all communities in the world.
Kalaulah orang sebut bahawa Malaysia adalah model sebuah negara di mana kepelbagaian kefahaman agama dan penganut-penganut masing-masing tidak membawa begitu banyak masalah. Sebaliknya, sudah sekian lama kita melihat bagaimana keharmonian di Malaysia ini merupakan satu sebahagian daripada lanskap negara kita.
He also shared with the audience of more than 500 people at the Vihara that he was incidentally in the United Nations General Assembly when His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan shared his initiative on the establishment of the WIHW in September 2010. The idea was preceded a month later by the famous speech by His Royal Highness Prince Ghazi, the King's personal envoy and special advisor.
Ya ini global movement of the moderates. Kefahaman moderation ataupun wasatiyah yang mula-mula dibawa ke peringkat antarabangsa.
In the same forum, the Malaysian Prime Minister spoke of another idea to circumvent some negative perceptions of Muslims and the religion of Islam by the West. He called it as the global movement of the moderates or wasatiyah, the concept that is mentioned in the Quran.
Yang amat penting. Kalau kita nak mengekalkan keharmonian dan persefahaman, kalau kita nak hidup dalam negara yang aman, kalau kita nak menjaga kestabilan negara kita, yang pertama kita mesti mengamalkan kesederhanaan, moderation.
In the Malaysian context, the Prime Minister suggested 3 principles to be followed to maintain peace and harmony in Malaysia. 1 is to practice moderation in all aspects of their lives.
Sebaliknya, kalau mereka memilih moderation, kesederhanaan, kalau mereka percaya kepada dialog, kalau mereka percaya pada consultation, kalau mereka menolak violence, ekstremism dan keganasan, saya percaya dunia akan merupakan dunia yang lebih aman dan lebih harmoni lagi.
The main task is to campaign against religious fanaticism, extremism and terrorism that has threatened peace and harmony to the adherents of all religions on the globe.
Agama Islam adalah agama persekutuan. Agama-agama lain bebas untuk dianuti. Ini merupakan satu pendekatan yang penuh dengan kebijaksanaan. Dan dengan cara seperti ini, kita dapat hidup dalam keadaan rukun, aman dan damai. Sebab itulah kita mesti kekalkan tradisi dan legasi ini.
The second is to refer to the Constitution of Malaysia in cases of controversy and to avoid conflicts of any type.
Satu hari, waktu Nabi Muhammad berada di tepi jalan, satu rombongan perarakan seorang yang bukan agama Islam, seorang agama Yahudi telah meninggal, dan procession itu melalui depan baginda. Nabi Muhammad telah bangun dan tunjuk bahawa dia menghormati orang yang meninggal dunia walaupun dari agama yang lain. Ini adalah keindahan agama Islam, di mana kita diajar, dididik untuk menghormati agama lain.
And finally, in all intents and purposes, justice must be the deciding factor, especially when dealing with people of different races and religious backgrounds.
Inilah 3 prinsip yang saya nak paparkan. 3 prinsip ini kalau kita dokong, dan kerajaan akan tetap pertahankan dan mengamalkan prinsip-prinsip tersebut. Dan semua pihak yang telah beri kerjasama yang sangat baik membolehkan harmoni walk saya ini, saya dapat lakukan dalam keadaan yang penuh dengan keharmonian. Terima kasih, dan marilah kita sambut Minggu Keharmonian antara penganut agama sedunia ini dengan penuh rasa kesyukuran bahawa Malaysia merupakan negara model keharmonian di dunia yang boleh kita banggakan. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
After thanking everybody for participating in the Harmony Walk, the Prime Minister of Malaysia unlatched the World Interfaith Harmony Week poster and declared WIHW Malaysia 2013 to be officially celebrated.
Begitu.